Welcome back to the Art of Approach podcast. This is episode 12. My name is Tim Bray.
And I'm Will Mulvaney.
And we are dating and approach coaches at The Art of Approach. You can find out more about us at theartofapproach.com. And in this podcast, as with every other one, we're going to be reviewing Instagram Reel, a Reddit post, and also a community question, all centered around dating so that we can explore the different topics, give our advice, our feedback, critiques on some of the dating advice that's out there. So, Will, would you like to take it away?
Let's do it. We'll get into Instagram. All right, let's get into Instagram.
I hope you're good. He was amazing, actually. He was an amazing guy.
He was amazing. This is something that I've noticed. No matter how good a situation was with a girl, when she breaks up with him or if she cheats on him, I almost never see women regret their decision. Like, never. And I don't know if they legitimately don't regret it or if their brain will not allow them to believe that they did something wrong.
Yeah.
Then why you lost feelings?
He just wasn't it for me, but he's a really good guy.
Oh my God. If I had an ex who said this, I just didn't have feelings and he was a really good guy. Fellas, if there's a woman out there saying this about you, other women are seeing this and subconsciously thinking you're a boring dude who sucks in bed. I never want someone saying this about me.
Amazing guy.
What can men do to avoid a situation like that? They're an amazing guy. They do everything right.
You can do, it's just like your feelings. Like, there's absolutely nothing. He can treat you like a queen and be the best guy ever, but you just, I don't know.
He can't do that. When she says he can do nothing, obviously, if you come on the male self-development side, there's tons of things that you can do to improve yourself. But as I have mentioned before, most women do not believe male self-improvement is real. They don't believe a man can go from being unattractive to attractive. Women do not care about your struggles. They wait at the finish line and they fuck the winners. From her standpoint, attraction is not a choice. She just has a feeling. It comes from wherever. But I guarantee you, if we find the dude that she ended up cheating on or leaving this guy for, he provides chaos and excitement in her life. Those other things that this guy didn't provide.
All right. Let's talk about it, Tim. I heard one thing in there.
Go for it.
I heard a lot of things in there. One thing that stood out there that time was he talks about attraction not being a choice, but as if, it's something she would say. That's wrong. It's the way I heard him saying it.
Something she would say that's wrong? What do you mean by that?
So he was saying, she would say attraction is not a choice, as if he's disagreeing with that.
I didn't quite get that.
Do you see him? Okay.
I mean, he did it really fast, so it's very hard to...
Yes. So he was talking about what she would be saying and saying she probably believes attraction is not a choice. So by him saying that, he is disagreeing with that statement.
Wow. Okay.
And that's something that we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
And is a big component of our program.
Also part of the issue that I have with some of the stuff he's saying too.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, there are pieces of that do make sense. There's you can improve yourself. You can become a better man. But as you've talked about a lot, the big part of our program is a lot of that is unlocking things in yourself and letting yourself be authentic and be free, rather than creating something out of nothing. Creating
another persona, another inauthentic way of living in the world. I don't understand how he could think that attraction isn't a choice. It's just, I mean, nobody's out there making a decision if they're going to think that the next woman that walks by is going to be attractive to them. They're not sitting there crunching the numbers, being like, do I find this person attractive? I mean, sometimes there might be a woman that might be on the fence of am I attracted to her? Am I not attracted to her? I mean, but if you're attracted to somebody, you just know it immediately.
Right.
But if I'm hearing him correct, I guess that I just have this sort of concept of maybe what he's talking about with this woman who dated this guy for a while and now she doesn't have the feelings for him anymore. It's possible that a good portion of that is because he hasn't been stepping up to the plate, that he hasn't been being the best version, hasn't been leading and creating opportunity and possibility in the relationship, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also be that the real person that he actually is just somebody that she's not attracted to.
Yeah, that's what she was kind of saying. It's like you can be the best guy, and there's still a chance that, you know, someone won't be attracted to you.
Yeah.
And that's 100% true. Like, I think the other thing I disagreed with this guy is that idea that if you're an attractive guy, then every girl is going to be attracted to you.
Yeah, right.
Which is just not the case.
No.
It's not how it
No.
works.
No. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah. So there's definitely things you can do to improve yourself.
Mhm.
But a lot of them are just going to be more aligning with your authentic self.
Yeah.
And being your best version of yourself.
Right.
So things like getting healthier, making better choices for yourself, being more authentic in dating, true to yourself, true to your desires.
Diving deep into the pool of life and everything that it has to offer, and making the most out of every experience.
Yeah, totally. Those things will all,
But
yeah, we've talked about that a ton, but like being someone who enjoys life, who's just looking to enjoy things.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I think that, you know, a big part of what dating is, a big part of what relationships are exploring and getting to know people, you know, getting to know the true depths. And it's very possible that the authentic version of that guy could have easily been just not a match for what she was wanting. What if she has parts of her life that aren't together? That, you know, they don't even mention anything about that.
Yeah.
I mean, she broke up with the dude, but could it be because the dude maybe is excelling at a certain kind of rate and she feels like maybe she's holding him back? I mean, that could be the case too. It's just very hard to draw these sort of broad assumptions about this. But as far as attraction not being a choice, I challenge someone to, you know, get on the phone with me and debate that.
Or she could be feeling bad about, he could be excelling in a way that makes her feel insufficient, and then she gets those bad feelings around him and then decides to leave him because of that.
Yeah.
Sure. So you never know. It does not mean it was the guy.
Doesn't.
And the guy is saying it like he knows exactly what happened. He's like, I never want a girl saying this about me. And it's like, well, you don't know why she's saying this.
Very black and white.
No.
This is the problem with a lot of dating advice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. There's so much more uncertainty out there than there is answers. So it's best to abide by that.
Right. So what's the self-improvement that you can do?
Yeah,
to become a more attractive partner.
Anything that's going to, you know, chisel down your walls so that you can be more in your authentic self and feel comfortable being in your authentic self. And that includes, you know, confronting your fears, confronting the things that you feel define you that you don't like. It's also getting out of your shell and pursuing the things that you truly desire. And I had another one there. I forgot what it was. Being in integrity with yourself, taking the time to understand yourself to a degree that you know what defines you, what doesn't, and drawing boundaries around that is another way. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Pursuing what you want in life.
Pursuing what
in
you
general.
want in life. Oh yeah.
Not just in dating. Be someone who is going for something.
For something that they truly desire, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, yeah, that was a good one. That was the type of perspective we don't often get on here.
Yeah.
So good pick.
I know, we usually agree. I guess it's because we listen to all the lady daters, the lady dating coaches.
We listen to a lot of people that like we follow. So it's kind of, yeah. But I think this is important, is to not get in like an echo chamber of like, oh yeah, this is great advice. Everything we do is good. We want to make sure we're getting other outside perspectives.
Yeah. And this is not to say that all lady dating advice people have the right perspective. It's just that we just happen to pick the ones where we feel like we agree more with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I do have one one piece of advice that I've seen a lot on Instagram when I was doing like picking these clips would be for guys to always be dating multiple women early on in the dating process. And when I first heard it, it stuck with me and I really took it to heart as like, I need to be doing this. But recently I've been reconsidering if that is necessarily a rule that someone should follow. That's like if you're on a first or second date with someone that you should always be dating other people. I think it's okay to be. There's no problem with it. But at the same time, I think it's a Band-Aid fix to date other people at the same time. Because I think what you're really dealing with is investment issues where you put too much of yourself into one person. And so instead you go, oh, I'm going to spread myself out between a bunch of people. When the real problem is you just shouldn't be investing that much of yourself into someone so early.
Yeah. This has been your struggle.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. And it just, it just depends on how you're feeling, how you're utilizing that abundance, right? Like if you have the ability to go out there and get a lot of dates, how are you gonna use them? What are you creating these dates for?
Right.
And it really comes down to getting to really know what you're looking for and what you want. If you don't have that as a goal that you can set out there to aim for, then you're just flopping around in the ocean without a direction. So yeah, that, again, like it is really, really, really helpful to have a lot of options. But if you don't have something that you're aiming for, then those options are kind of meaningless. And if anything, as Will has experienced, having a lot of options, having a lot of dates can sometimes feed into the ego side and can help you, or in some way aid you in finding comfort in discomfort. Because if you continually get a lot of dates, then you don't have to feel like you're lonely or like you don't have any options. You don't get to sit with that. When really sitting with it, and as you've been experiencing recently, sitting in the void, as we've been calling it, is actually really powerful.
Yeah.
And that's really where the focus needs to be. So that's, if you are using women to go on dates with for that particular purpose of avoiding the void.
Yes. Using them for avoidance is the problem.
Avoidance.
If you are dating multiple women because you can't sit with the idea of one of them like rejecting you or something, and like that's the void.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're a void, you're going to be in the void if you're sitting alone and you're just avoiding that. That's the problem. It's not the fact that you're dating just one girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be needy with one girl if you're dating one girl. If you're dating 5 girls, there shouldn't be a difference in your like neediness.
Right. And just having more options doesn't make you less needy. It's your avoidance of the void that makes you feel needy.
Because you're like, don't leave me alone. I can't be alone with myself. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, but I loved what you said about the goal setting, because that's, or like having a vision of what you're really looking for.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've missed out. And that's like something I just realized in my life in general is I'm very disciplined and I do a lot of things that I know I should be doing on like a day-to-day basis. And they get me results that I want, but there's no vision of where I'm going. And that's similar to this now, where I'm doing like 3 approaches a day. I'm going on dates, but there's no vision. There's no like, what am I really doing this for? Where am I going?
What's the point of this?
Yeah. And so I can get results and like cool things happen. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know this would happen. But then there is that point I come to where I'm like, why am I doing this? And that was kind of yesterday, was that. Where I was like, what is the purpose of doing these approaches?
Yeah, yesterday we were out with the meetup groups and we were filming our approaches, and I noticed, Will, you did seem when you were out there to just kind of be sort of aimless.
Going through the motions.
Just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like
I had no excitement. I had 0 excitement.
Yeah, you were not excited at all. And I was thrilled because I was really immersing myself in it. And I was like, why isn't Will getting excited?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a point I remember where you were like, this is the shit. This is so much fun. And I could not. I was like, it's not. It doesn't feel like it. to
Yeah,
me.
dude.
But it is. It totally is.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
But there has to be that drive behind it.
Yeah. There has to be that purpose. That's part of what, you know, is about being a man is having that purpose and going after that purpose.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're in vagueness.
That's exactly it. I was talking to this guy yesterday about like the hero's journey. How every man should go through their hero's journey and like face their dragon and all that.
Yeah, dude.
That's
I mean,
like what, yeah.
You hear these stories about these like ancient tribes, or I mean, they're not ancient now, but they're, you know, they're kind of primitive, I guess, tribes. I don't know if that's the right word I'm supposed to use, but I don't know any other word right now. But
like the ones that are still around.
Yeah,
like
the ones that are still around.
Tribes
yeah, hunter-gatherer tribe, exactly. I've heard the shit I've heard that they do for their rite of passage. Do you ever hear this one? They make a glove and they put fucking fire ants in the glove.
Dude, I saw a video of that in like second grade. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
It's crazy.
And they put the kid's hands in the glove and they have to hold it there. Fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's always like a rite of passage. It's like you're a boy and then you go off and do this thing with the elders or with whatever. Like you have to go face some shit and then you're a man when you come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember even seeing it in gang culture, modern day gang culture. There's always like, if you want to get into the gang, you have to like get beat up by the entire gang or something.
You have to like kill somebody. That's the one I've always heard.
Yeah.
Which we're not recommending.
But we don't, you know, the common person in America doesn't go through anything like that. It's all up to us. And if we're, you know, going to have the choice on it, we're probably going to try to avoid it at all costs.
Have you heard of the Mankind Project?
I have.
They have something kind of similar, which they have a bunch of like men's groups around, I think around the US. I don't know exactly, but they have this like weekend where you go do whatever. I don't really know what you do, but it's some kind of initiation.
Yeah.
And then you come out and now you're in the brotherhood in like the whole, so you can go to any of the men's groups around the US and everyone else has been through the same thing. So something kind of similar where you can like make yourself go through that rite of passage.
Side note, we should consider doing something like that for our program.
Yeah.
I mean, I
heard something where they were talking about, I think it was Jordan Peterson was talking about how he had heard of like a pickup artist teacher or like whatever. And what they would do is they would have their clients go and ask out 50 girls in one day. Just ask for their numbers.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's kind of like a initiation where you're like, fuck, this is going to be a hard day. But then after you do that, you're like,
well, I mean, after you do the first few, you're just on fire for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
You can take some rejection after that. Okay, let's go to Reddit. This is an interesting one we have not talked about. What is the most appropriate way to approach a girl at her workplace? And let's split this into two categories. So either she is at her workplace and you are not. You're just there. Like it's not your workplace. Or let's say it is your workplace. So let's start with she's working. You're like, you know, a customer, or you just see her at her office, whatever it is. What do you think about that?
You know, I don't know why. I know that I'm just reflecting back on my history, and you're talking about that waitress that I approached. I don't know why I make that out to be such a big deal. I'm realizing that I've been making it out to be a big deal this whole time. Is it really that big of a deal that I mean, I wasn't at the restaurant. I was just walking by the restaurant. I saw her in the restaurant. Is it that big of a deal that I would go in while somebody's working and tell them that I thought they were beautiful and give them my number? I don't think so.
Yeah, like she's still a person.
Yeah.
Just because she's working doesn't make her not.
It's not like she left her work to come and talk to me. Like she's like dipping out on work. Like there's a person who's a potential customer that's coming in there to do that. She didn't ask for that circumstance to happen. So how could anybody at her work blame her for that situation?
Right. Do you think it's different if you were like a customer?
A little bit. I feel like there's something there.
It would feel different, or you think there's a real difference?
I think
I can see where it would feel different.
Yeah.
So I had a
It's-
waitress this
yeah.
morning who I wasn't super attracted to, but I was a little bit. I thought she was cute, but I didn't say anything. And I think if she was more attractive, I might have. If I was like, I really actually would like to pursue something here. But it definitely feels a little bit weird because it's like they have to be friendly to you. They have to be nice.
Yeah.
And so you're making it difficult. You're making their life a little difficult if they're
Yeah.
not interested.
Yeah.
Because they have to put up the front that they're still like, yeah.
Yeah. I almost want to say to like because I was in a situation a while back where there was a beautiful waitress that was serving me.
Mhm.
What I did is I said she's beautiful and my name and number on the check.
Mhm.
Like call me if you want to, because I didn't want to create that dilemma. The dilemma is the thing that I'm concerned about, because if she feels like she's going to reject somebody that she just served, she might be worried that they might not give her a good tip.
Yeah.
So I almost kind of want to say your answer to this in no way is going to change the amount of money I'm going to be giving for the tip. Okay, just so you understand that. But I also think you're incredibly beautiful, and I want to ask you out on a date.
Yeah. Could you do it after you write the
What do you,
after you
you
pay
could
and everything? That might be another way to do it.
maybe after you leave the tip.
You say, hey, I already paid, so it's unrelated, but
Yeah,
I just had to say you're very beautiful.
I like that, Will.
You could even be like, you're so beautiful, and I left my number on the check. Feel free to call me if you're interested.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go now.
I like that.
Leave
I
it
like
on her.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time in like my sophomore year of college, freshman to sophomore summer, sometime in there, I went to brunch with some friends, and this was in the time where I would not talk to girls sober, who I didn't know. And our waitress, we ate and everything, and then at the end, one of my friends was like, "Hey, Will, you should write your number on the check." And I didn't. I don't think I even made eye contact with her the entire time. And then I did it anyways, and I was like so nervous to write it out and all that, but nothing came of it. So I feel like giving it that extra thing at the end where you like are bold enough to tell her it, that could have changed something.
Yeah. But this kind of makes me want to revisit our talk about giving our numbers.
Oh, you want to go back?
Yeah, I want to do
Dude,
the go
I'm ready.
back here.
I was let's go back. I was should we finish the workplace thing or go right into this?
Oh.
We can come back.
Yeah, let's come back. Let's go back. We'll talk. We're gonna revisit. Should we give our numbers, or should we
take numbers, or does it not really matter? That's the third option.
Yeah.
Okay. Most appropriate way to approach a girl at her workplace. Let's say your coworkers.
Okay.
What then?
Boy, I always had in my mind that was never a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was completely taboo. Willing to revisit it though.
Yeah, I think it is worth revisiting. I think the stakes are a little bit higher. If an interaction goes poorly, yes.
Especially at smaller companies.
Yeah, that's true. At my company, it's a little bigger, and so I feel like I could go and talk to someone, and I don't like to feel this way, but it's like I could disappear. Like I could be just out of, they wouldn't know who I was. if like for some reason they got a really bad impression from me. But like that's such worst case scenario, like where no one's gonna ever, like we talked about this yesterday, there's no bad, we almost never have like bad interactions. There's almost never a time where a woman is like mad or distraught that you approached her. And so there's not really a reason it would be different at work.
Well, the problem arises in that you might be able to be completely comfortable in doing that, but that's not going to account for what she could imagine happening, what she might have experienced in the past, how she might have had a similar thing happen to her before, and she all of a sudden puts you in that box. And now every time you see her and you have to work with her, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. So what if you just took a slower approach to it? Do you think that's the way? So one way is like invite her, like actually express your attraction maybe outside of the workplace. So figure out a way where you invite her to something, maybe in like a group, and then at that point you can express, so that there's kind of a disconnect from like, yes, we work together, I do have to tell you this.
Could be. I just still think there's so much risk involved. Because again, like, I know for me in the jobs that I've been in, like I've had to be on the fucking ball, and any kind of disruption to that was going to put me in a challenging space. But that kind of stuff happens in the workplace, you know, like whether people want to try to avoid it or not, like attraction happens in the workplace. Disagreements with other fellow coworkers happens. People are, you know, there's bad apples that come in, you know, I mean, it's not perfect. And there's nothing you can really do to keep it from being imperfect either.
Like we're human. It's just going to happen.
Right.
We like other humans.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, there's just risk involved is all I'm saying. And I think in most cases, it probably will be fine. But you just have to be a little cautious, I think.
Slightly more cautious than normal.
Yeah. And, you know, going up and saying to the woman that you're interested in, hey, can't really hold this back anymore because I find you attractive. Just want you to know that I think that I'm open for going on a date with you sometime, if that's something that you would like to do too. And just being like, by the way, you know, if you don't want to, nothing is going to change between you and I at work. I will set my sights elsewhere. Not a big deal. You know, I mean, that's probably the best you can say. Whether she's going to believe that or not is really, it's really up to them.
To her. But again, she's probably going to know either way.
Oh, she will know.
She definitely knows.
They always know.
Yeah.
They always know.
So, yeah, I think that is the best way to go about it. To be like, nothing is going to change, you know, if you're not interested. But I'm open to going on a date sometime outside of work.
Yep.
Yeah. And then approaching her at her workplace again, I think it's okay. You just have to be aware that she has to act a certain way because she's being paid and she doesn't want to lose her job, and to give her more space because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm recalling a couple startups ago, it was a very small startup at the time, and there was a girl there that I had a huge crush on. And she had a dude who she was not all that thrilled with. And I remember we went out to lunch once, and I just really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. But and she would do interesting things. Like she was like trying to get me in like a friend zone kind of place, it almost felt like. So friend zone, just so everyone understands, friend zone's a little different than just being friends with a woman. Friend zone's when there's tension. So there was tension. And she would do things. She would like this was so long ago, but I'm trying to recall everything. Like she would send me texts sometimes. I think sometimes we would have phone calls, and she was also really playful. I remember one thing that we did. Boy, this is embarrassing. I hope she never finds this. This one thing we do is we had a working note document of like old timey words and stuff, because she was always joking about how I used silly old words and stuff. And so we would just go back and forth, like adding words to that list. And I found myself like really, really smitten with her. And I also found that she wasn't really that way too. And I got into the place, because I was not expressive with my feelings at the time, that I would kind of just avoid her at all costs. And also get kind of angry at her. There was a little bit of rage in there that she was like playing me. But I also take responsibility for now that I was not expressive with what I was wanting.
Yeah. Interesting. My only similar experience was like there was a girl at my past job before this one who I thought was really cute, and I would just see her occasionally in the hallway, and I'd like work up the nerve to say hi, and that would make my day. And that was it. We barely ever talked. Like we would have like a small conversation if we were in the same room, and that was it. Yeah.
What would the will that is with us now do?
Oh, dude, I've been like, oh shit, that would have been interesting. Something different. Yeah. All right. Community question today comes from Avi. This one is, how do I make a first approach or a first date more memorable?
Okay, so blanket's obvious answer is you be your fucking self. You be you be in inauthenticity. It doesn't sound right. You be in your authenticity.
Be in authenticity.
Be in authenticity. So meaning that the more comfortable you are, the more clear and present you are in an exchange, is going to do everything you possibly need. It's only when we're in our brains, in our minds, that we're going to be creating a less interesting. So in the landmark thing I did, there was a seminar that took forever. But the name of the seminar was Being Extraordinary. Being extraordinary is what we're talking about, right? And being extraordinary is all of the things that our program coaches on. It's all about, how can I be the most authentic version of myself? You being you right now is not authentic if you are struggling with this. You being free to go up and talk to any woman and feel completely comfortable, that is you being authentic. Big differentiation. It's not being yourself, it's being authentic. So yeah, that first and foremost is going to be the thing. And the second biggest thing is listening. And this comes with being present, but listening and trying to get to know who this person is on that first interaction. I remember watching a little bit of Avi's video from yesterday, when he went up to the second girl of the day
in the cafe.
Mm-hmm. And he asked if I could sit down because I want to like get to know you a little bit. You being interested in getting to know somebody makes you interested in makes you interesting to get to know.
He went on a date with her today.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. If you're interested in getting to know somebody, they're going to be interested in getting to know you.
Yes, if you're a genuinely curious person, if you're like, yeah, interested.
Yeah, because you create the possibility for curiosity by doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I heard this, I realized, I mean, I knew already. I have this built-in thing where it's like I always have tried to fit in, like through school, college. It's like whenever I'm in a big group of people, I'm like, how do I just fit in? And in approaching, when I try to fit in, that's when you become
ordinary.
Yes. You are not memorable.
Exactly.
And so again, it's not necessarily something you have to do to become memorable. It's just not trying to fit in, not trying to be the same as everyone else.
Yep. And what are most of us out there trying to do? We're trying to fit in. We're trying to be the same as everybody else.
Yep.
We don't want to stand out. We are being inauthentic.
And that ties back to this age-old thing about the perfect time that we've been talking about, I feel like every week. It's like when you're looking for the perfect time, you're looking for the time when it's easiest for you to talk to her, when it makes the most sense. And guess what? That's the time where another guy would also do it. Like whenever you look for the easiest and like
it's not the time when another guy would do it. The guy who is extraordinary has already done it.
Yes. But it's the time when like the ordinary guy would have done it. Like that's who you're trying to be when you're looking for the perfect time. It's like, oh, when should I do it? And by doing that, you put yourself into that exact thing where it's like, you are the ordinary.
Yeah.
When you were talking, I remembered this thing that Alex Hormozy was talking about, which is if you are different, you're exceptional. You are an exception.
Mm-hmm.
And just reframing that in your mind is like, oh, you're so different. It's like, well, I'm exceptional.
Yeah. It's also goes back to the same thing where he was saying what allows you to create a powerful business is going to places that nobody else would go. Going to the extent of like putting yourself in the most terrifying situations, risking it all to get to that place. Because if you can go someplace that somebody else is not likely to go, then you get to have the rewards of that space.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the exact same with approaching and dating. It's like anytime you're thinking, oh, would I be a normal if I did this? Would I stand out too much? Like catch that and be like, that's what I actually want. Yes. I want to stand out. Yes. I want to not be normal. I want to be exceptional.
Yes. That's what you need to aim for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It is so interesting to just think about how, the terms ordinary and extraordinary, and about how so much of what we find ourselves in is a place of ordinary, in that that's just the way that we've just always been operating in the world. And now all of a sudden, for people that are waking up to this kind of work, you're realizing that there's another way of operating in this world. And it's really defined by me.
Yeah.
I get to make the choices. I get to choose who I want to go and approach. I get to choose how comfortable I want to be in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is about noticing how just like what you were saying, all that checklist of all the things that are just ordinary. Like, what would an ordinary guy do? Do more. Right. Add something else on top of that.
And stop trying to be that.
Yeah.
Don't follow that impulse.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
Be the thing you want to be.
Yeah.
Choose your own.
Yeah. And all of the fears that are keeping you back from being extraordinary, all those things are just little blips that feel like they're, what is it, like there's a term, a lake that's a foot deep.
Yeah. Yes.
That's all those fears are.
Right. They seem huge, but then you step in it and you're like, oh, I can fucking walk all the way
way across.
It's a foot deep.
All the way across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mile wide, a foot deep. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's definitely. So being memorable is just bringing in the free energy, being free with yourself, be free to, and again, Hormozy talked about that with like his style and his direct way of just being exactly himself. As someone asked him, like, how can I brand myself? Like, you're such a unique person. And he's like, well, I'm not actually a unique person. I just am free. I just express myself. And he does whatever the fuck he wants to do. And everybody has that ability to express themselves.
Everybody has
And
it.
you will be unique if you do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In big part because no one else is.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. A lot of people are trying to conform to.
Yeah, it doesn't
what is
matter what
normal.
situation you're in, what your looks are, what your height is. Everyone has the opportunity to be extraordinary.
Mhm.
And it's really just a journey towards doing more than what normally people would do.
Yeah. And I definitely do this still. I still try and fit in. I still try and be normal. So talking about this now, I'm going to start focusing on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you find yourself wanting to fit in and be normal, would you say?
It's just like a general feeling. Like anytime I'm in a public setting where there's a lot of people around, I'm just like thinking.
Really?
It's in the background. Yeah.
I don't know how you're able to have that in the background when you're hopping fences and crossing streets to go and talk to women, Will. How do you manage staying normal?
It fades in and out, I guess. Like if I have another thing to do, or like there's sometimes like if we're recording, then I have like something higher on the priority list. And so then I can lose sight of the being normal. It's like I have a mission, I have something I need to do. Again, also if there's like a friend with me, then I feel like, okay, there's someone else who has an expectation for me. I can conform to that rather than the feeling of like having to conform to that of everyone else in this public setting, which is so hard to do.
Yeah, it is, because I mean, when we were out there just the other day, I felt like I was in Grand Theft Auto. I didn't even feel like anybody existed. I was just doing my thing. Like I was so unaware of
what else
it would, like, what other people would think or say. Like I was not even thinking about that. So I don't even know how you can think about that kind of stuff.
It's in there, dude.
It must be a struggle to think about that stuff.
Totally. But yeah, that was fun. We were like videotaping inside of like coffee shops and like out on the street and like standing pretty close. And people were walking by and like, yeah, it was fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Okay.
So that's our community question. So let's go back to, we had a conversation 2 episodes ago with Raina about giving the number versus taking the number when you have an approach that goes well and you are both interested in pursuing a date.
I'm wondering if we can start with exploring the word take, because I know that we do use that word.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of ways that guys fail at connecting with women because they are trying to take. But I'm wondering if we can try working with that word and consider replacing it with receive. So how could you receive a number, perhaps, instead of, can I get your number? Instead of asking a question, perhaps,
how would you ask it differently?
Perhaps you can make a statement.
I'd love
to have your number. Another thing that popped up when you mentioned that waitress scenario a while ago was, going up to her after you talked to her, or after you paid the bill and you left the tip and all that stuff, and you say to her, I left my number on that check. I would love for you to call me. All you got to do is just text me your number. Again, because like the thing I was thinking about in that moment is just, how can I make this the easiest access? The way we do on our ads, we have like an ad funnel that moves people from a video on Instagram to our DMs. All they have to do is hit the word approach, and I think it comes up in a button.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we we work with them from there. So, I was thinking the access thing came to mind when you were talking about the check thing. If you are going to leave your number, just be like, just text me your number.
Text me your name.
Or just text me your name.
Yeah.
So I know it's you. Not because I forgot it, which I probably did, but
just make it a little easier for me.
I'm not remembering any girls' names that I'm going up and approach it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So going back to the number thing, I think now that after I've heard Raina, my thoughts on this, and I would love to hear yours as well. My thoughts are, I would love to see you sometime. I would love to take you on a date sometime. Oh yeah? I mean, most of the time they're going to give us their number. That's generally the way it seems to happen. Or if they say, yeah, I would love that. And then you could say, well, I'd love to get your number, and from there we can set up a time. Again, you can say it from a statement place.
Yeah, that works. I still like my way.
Okay, you tell
So
you go with yours.
I talked about this before, but I like not having to text them. It's just easier on my brain that I don't have to remember it. And if they're interested, they'll just send me a text. Typically it is just like, hey, this is whoever from wherever. Then I know that they're interested. I know, like, I gave them the space of like, hey, I'm into you. Let me just give you my number and you give me a text if you are interested in that date. Then I know that they're interested. I don't have to spend any mind space on texting someone and then wondering if they're going to respond or not. I just talked to them and gave them my number, and there we go. I think we talked about like the masculine and the feminine of the pursuing and the all that last time with Raina. I think there's something very masculine about doing exactly what I want and not wasting energy on something that I don't want to do. And I think that's what I missed. I couldn't articulate last time. Which is, I'm going for exactly what I want. And what I want is I want to date someone who's interested in me. And I don't want to waste that mental space on someone who isn't. And I think I'm setting it up clear enough that it is easy for them. It's not, I'm not asking them to pursue me. I'm just saying, hey, text me if you're interested. I want to take you on a date.
I hear you. I personally don't think I would be doing that.
Okay. So what's the difference between that and you text them and then you're like, and then they respond?
Because I'm continuing my role in leading. I'm right. Demonstrating.
But I'm already leading. I'm saying, hey, here's my number. Give me a text if you're interested. What's the difference between saying that versus texting them that? Hey, this is Will. Great to meet you. Let's go out sometime. What's the difference?
I think my hunch is that women, because women have a common pattern of handing out numbers to guys, that there is also perhaps the same kind of mistrust that they experience in themselves doing that, because they're doing that to protect themselves because they don't want to say no to you. But there's the same mistrust that maybe you, a guy who's out on the street who could potentially be going up to a ton of women
and is
100%, if you really are truly sincere about that. Because if you were sincere about that, you would want to you'd want to pursue them to the end of the earth. So I do feel like in some way it's still your words are powerful, but your actions are even more powerful.
Right. I just don't see why I don't think there's a binary step between like the conversation and the text conversation. I don't think there has to be. Because again, it's like I could end it with, hey, here's my number. I'll put it into your phone. Leave you some funny note in the company title. And then I'll just say, hey, text me if you're interested. I don't think there's a difference. Like it's just her doing the first text, but I still did the first initiation of everything.
I know, but I think you might be underestimating that step there.
And I get to stand out a little bit because I'm not one of the guys looking to take her number. And I get to show her that I'm okay. Like I can relinquish control. Like I don't need to be in control. Because control, you don't want someone who's looking to control.
Sure.
Lead, sure. Yes, you want that. But I can let up control and be like, you do you. This is what I want to have happen. And I would love you to join me. Text me if you want to.
I think we're on a very subtle and personal kind of point of discussion, and I kind of feel like on this particular issue, you know, to agree to disagree on this, that, you know, if it works for you, ultimately do what works for you. The way, you know, I just see it differently, and I just see that I'm wanting to always at every step, I'm always wanting to make the move. Even if it's just that really subtle gap there between meeting them and then sending that first text, I still want to be there for that.
So what is the difference between making a move and like her meeting you on that move? You know what I mean? Like you text her and then she responds, but that's not her making a move, right? So what's the difference?
Okay, so you're saying what's the difference between that first text and then the second text?
And then her responding back.
And her responding back, right. So I think that we might just be underestimating the
it's like taking it from conversation to texting.
I think that's a transition. And I think that's a transition that is notable. Okay.
Yeah, that could be the difference, is that I don't place as much importance on that, on the texting part.
Yeah. Now, when you're getting into a texting conversation, of course, you're wanting to be setting up the date with her. Mm-hmm. So first thing should be like, so when are you free to go on a date? You know, from there, now it's in her court.
Right.
And now it's her responsibility to get back to you if she wants to. But I still think that gap there, that from the moment that we met to following up on that text, I think that's a place where the man needs to lead. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. The only one thing that's still guiding me is what do I want to do, and this is what I want to do.
And that's what you do. You
has to be my guiding.
Never sacrifice on that, on what your desire is. If that's the way you want to. And you know, for somebody like you, Will, who has tons of dates lined up all the time, you probably don't need to. But I just want to let other guys know that if they are struggling with this, it's going to be way more beneficial to ensure the easiest access to you at all times. Meaning, set everything up from the moment that you approach her to your text conversation to setting up on the date to the whole date itself. Everything is on you to set up. You create the environment, you create the space. Everything needs to be done by you there.
Yeah. Cool. That's a good conversation. Good topic there. Should we talk a little bit about yesterday?
Sure.
Yeah, we already mentioned it a little bit, but we had our group approach day, and then afterward we went to the Domain in Austin and recorded
Yeah.
some approaches.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything notable for you?
Yeah, I entered the day as I normally did. I did not want to talk to anybody. But, I'm this approach coach, so I guess I got to.
Gotta walk the walk.
Yeah, and I started out the day. I've been noticing that I way prefer going off by myself than going out with a group. I went out. We met at Auditorium Shores here in Austin. The group dispersed. I took George to the dog park. He needed to my dog. He needed to get some running in.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up just striking up a conversation with some people nearby. That's my kind of mode. I just like to get the conversations rolling so I can get into like a conversational kind of energy. Had a lot of fun with that. And then
can I just say, I think that's really important. If you're going out to approach and you like can't find anyone you're attracted to, is just get moving somehow.
Get into a conversation
just talk to
somehow.
someone.
Yeah. Get into just a regular conversation with someone that you don't have to be attracted with, or somebody who the sex that you're not interested in, whatever.
Do it quickly though.
Yeah. So from there, I had a handful of compliments that I was doing on the trail. And then I was challenged with something that I thought was a funny joke, because I saw two women. It was like 85 degrees or something. It was like hot as balls out there. And I saw these two women with long sleeve shirts on. And I was like, I have to go over there and say a funny, stupid joke. And so I went over there. I was just like, you ladies look so hot today. You must be sweating. They didn't laugh, and that's okay. I thought it was funny. I did it for myself. I wanted to make myself laugh. But they were really nice. We ended up having a nice little conversation.
Were they attractive to you?
Yeah. I wasn't in the mode yet.
Okay.
It was a mother and a daughter also. Just wasn't in the mode yet. And then I had a whole handful of other interactions after that. I was really kind of saving myself for the Domain. I was excited about that because I was recognizing that when I'm on camera, I'm actually like way more interested in performing.
Turn it up.
Yeah, I like being on camera. So we get to the Domain, and there was a handful that I did at the beginning, one of which gave me a completely like surprised and cold like response. That was pretty interesting to recognize.
Is that the one where you like came back and you're like, she had fear in her eyes?
Yeah. She did not. She was not ready for me.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about that, I approached from the side. I was like right here.
Here. I did. I watched the video. You were almost behind her too. You were like just right next to her.
Dude. That's where I could improve, because you want to be facing them out in front at a diagonal.
Yeah.
Boy, I didn't even think about that. And then of course the highlight of the day is I double approached someone who I'd approached you. I think I think I mentioned the Waitress earlier in the podcast. There was this waitress that I was just crazy about. I had to go into the restaurant to give her my number, and it was this big thing where I went in, and first I complimented her, and then the guy, the student that I was with was like, did you find her attractive? Like, why didn't you get her number? Why didn't you ask her out on a date? I was like, you're right. I should have done that. So I was thinking to myself, I was like, how can I make this the most easy for her?
She was at work again.
Because she was working. Mm-hmm. And so I went around to a few other places around there to try to find a pen and paper. And for some reason, in this day and age, it's hard to find a pen and paper. So I found a paper at one place, and I found a pen at another place, and I ended up writing out my number, and I went back in there. I couldn't find her anywhere for a long ass time. I was just like standing in the middle of this restaurant like a dum-dum. And finally I see her, and she's behind this glass wall doing some kind of like stuff with food. And so I just went up to the glass wall, and I like waved, and she came out at that time, and I gave her my number, and I was like, would love to see you again. I didn't hear from her. Just so happens that one of the women that I approached yesterday happened to be the same lady, even though I had no idea. She did not look familiar at all, but she knew me.
Yeah, that was the funniest part.
She's like, I know you. And did she even say my name? Do you remember?
I don't.
I don't.
But she remembered the note thing.
She totally remembered the note.
Because she told you, like, yeah, you left your number, but I'm seeing someone. I'm talking to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I was just in complete astonishment. I could not believe that I was talking to this, because I had just earlier in that day, as Will and I were walking by the same restaurant, I was like, you keep away from my waitress, mister. And I just had mentioned her, and then I just fucking run into her.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, that shows like she really remembered that. I bet that was like a highlight.
Oh yeah,
getting a guy's number.
Yeah.
Even though she was talking to someone and didn't. I wonder if there was any like back and forth in her head about like, should I text him? Should I not?
No.
But who knows? Should we talk about that? There's like a weird gray area that I think me and Tim both have been. We both, like, you had it with that one where it was like, should you have pushed a little bit and just been like, you know, it sounds like you're talking to someone. It might be casual. Let me just give you my number in case anything changes on your end. And you could have been like, we've run into each other twice now. I feel like, you know, something's like meant to happen here.
Exactly. I mean, I was just in such a state of astonishment that would have been like the thing to do, is to be like, wow, don't you kind of think it's weird that the universe keeps putting us together? Like, maybe we should just get coffee or something and just like hang out and not worry about the romance thing. Like, I would love to know why the universe guided me to this woman 2 times. The second time I didn't even recognize her. To me, it just seems very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah, something I didn't double approach anyone yesterday, but I talked to this girl with her mom, and she mentioned, when I asked her out, I asked like for the mom's permission as a joke, and they
awesome.
That is funny. And then she said like she was so sorry. She felt terrible. And she was like, I have a boyfriend right now. And I didn't notice that she said that at the time, but that's a weird thing to say right now, I have a boyfriend, because that's like clear anticipation of that ending at some point.
Could have been. And it could also just been something that you say. It could have just been something
you
like,
think it was just
I
like
got a boyfriend
nice
now.
Way of saying yes.
I got a boyfriend at the moment. Could have been, Will.
Yeah. I guess that is true. Could have been. Anyways, I was thinking about like, if is that unethical to then go forth and be like, okay, well, right now you do, but I would love to give you my number in case anything changes.
Yeah. I think a lot of women are going to have problems with the ethics of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of women are probably going to say that wouldn't be right for the guy that I'm seeing.
Yeah. I
get that. I would probably feel odd about doing that.
Weird. Like you're like planning to when the breakup happens.
Yeah.
What if she was planning a breakup though?
It also can't hurt to just ask.
Say it. Yeah.
To just say it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she may be planning a breakup, and in that case, and also, by the way, women are much better at picking their next stepping stone than men are.
Yeah. What's easier?
If a woman is feeling insecure in a relationship, they're going to be looking for other options.
Right.
Because they can do that a lot easier than we can.
Yes.
It takes a lot more energy and effort for us to get our motors going and get back out into the world.
I heard something about the reason why. It's because women are approached and men approach typically So when a woman is in a relationship, she's never really like out of the game because she still is being approached. But a
Interesting.
guy in a relationship is not approaching.
Right.
And so he's like out of it completely.
Wow. That's
But a woman still
interesting.
knows how to be receptive and open. And yeah.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Yeah, they're never out of it. Yeah.
But her mom loved me.
Oh yeah.
She was
Bug,
like,
you
"It's
get in
so
with the
sweet."
mom, man.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good with that. That's another. By the way, y'all, listen up. Approaching a
Fellas,
mother and
yeah.
a daughter is advantageous, especially if you have the capacity and the confidence to
Yeah.
talk to both of them, include them both in it, like Will did. Very advantageous.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess what I was experiencing the other day was a lot of excitement, and I'm feeling really good about it. But I had some disappointments around all the women that I talked to, all saying they had boyfriends. I was disappointed. I didn't. At one point, I think I was just like, at one point I had some nasty voices come in that were saying like, you're unattractive, so just give up, that kind of thing. And that was hard to deal with. But I also just got to the point where I was like, if the women that I'm hitting on have boyfriends, that probably means that I'm talking to women that are desired. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of them would. And then I turned over to Will, who, has had a lot more experience doing this recently. And, you didn't get that many contacts that day either. And that kind of made me feel a little bit more relieved that I wasn't just like the only one who wasn't getting contacts, because Avi was getting fucking contacts up the wazoo. Avi was
He
on
was.
fire.
Yeah, he was. Dude, that is all luck. That part of it, if they have a boyfriend or not.
It is, yeah. It is.
It's all just
Who
are you talking to? Where are they at in their life?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so easy to get locked up in there, though. So easy for any guy to have, not the outcome that they're wanting. Disappointment. It does get in there. And I noticed that it still got in there too. And that's why this is a journey. That's why nothing is going to be fair in this process. This is an unfair process.
Yeah.
And the only way you win at it is by accepting that it's unfair and that you don't know who you're going to run into next.
Yes, you have to zoom out a lot.
Yeah.
You can't look at one particular day or one particular approach.
It's so unfair that I put forth all that effort, talked to incredible girls, and didn't get one opportunity set up for myself. But that's what I'm working with.
And you are the output.
Exactly.
Who you became because of all of those.
Oh, I felt fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I felt so on fire. I was telling Will as we were walking down the way, I was like, there's nothing more fun than this. This has got to be the most fun thing to do ever. And it's, for me, it's also just about getting to see myself being authentic in front of the women that I approach, and watching how simple and easy it is to just get into conversations when I let myself.
Yeah, there's something fun about that. I mean, like, here I am.
Yeah.
This is me. Look at me. Let's talk.
Yeah. And something that we brought a new guy out, and I think it was probably his like first opportunity to go up and approach women. And, as all guys coming into it, he was worried like, oh, I don't want to disturb. I don't want to, have them make a big scene or tell me off or something like that. And as he was watching us do it, I kept saying to him, like, you see that? You see that? You see that? Look at how nicely that turned out. And then I remember also saying something I think it was really important that I wanted to mention on this podcast, is that women are going to far more be likely to be friendly to you out of mere self-defense, which is an unfortunate reason for them to have to feel that
It
way.
sounds bad.
It sounds terrible.
Yes.
And it's again, it's very unfortunate. I wish it wasn't that way. But ultimately, women are geared to be friendly to men so that they don't upset men. So the chances that you are going to have a bad approach and that the woman's not going to be friendly to you is going to be very low as a result.
And that's kind of true about men and women. Most men are not looking to like cause any kind of confrontation, even like not just physical, but like any kind of like we're talking, a lot of guys are trying to fit in, go with the flow. Like same thing with women. They don't want to upset you in general.
Yeah. And then also, did you get to check out that the YouTube video yet?
I still haven't.
Oh, you gotta check it out. I was also mentioning that there's a YouTube video where a body language expert was observing singles in a fabricated bar setting, and the first two couples that they focused on, the guy and the girl, like he was noting that the woman was giving all these signals, like she was preening her hair, she was like getting really excited about everything that the guy was talking about, and even at the end she like patted the guy in the bum as she was going up to get a drink. And they interviewed her later, and they asked her, like, did you find that guy attractive? And she was like, no, but I bet, and then she said, I bet you're going to say that I was like flirting with him though. And he's like, yeah, well, I was seeing some of that. She was like, yeah, I might have been doing that, but I wasn't interested. It's just another display at how women are trying to protect themselves. But the good news is that, guys, you don't have to be afraid to approach women. Most of them are going to be friendly. Most of them are not going to want to get you upset in the slightest or cause any confrontation.
Definitely true. And that's been, I think, both of our experience with this. So women are often very friendly.
But with that benefit comes great responsibility, because, you know, guys have to recognize that could be the case, and that a woman may seem or show signs that they're interested in you, but that doesn't necessarily always equate to the fact that they're interested in you too.
There's never like a green light go, like, you know, there's never like one, it's like with consent, it's like it's an ongoing thing. There's never like one time where it's like, okay, I consent, and then like you're free to do whatever.
Right.
It never happens.
No.
There's always, you always have to give them the freedom of whatever.
Right.
Choosing what they want.
And that's why, you know, in our program, we focus so much on offering the invitations to things instead of asking for things.
Yeah, there was something similar that came up with one of the people I was with at the group, where he was talking about what he was afraid of was going up to a girl and then her being scared of him. What is this guy doing talking to me? And like having fear. And I told him something that you told me about. It's something similar, but it's basically like if that happens, you have to understand, like, she is fully right in being scared. And you just have to sit with the fact that you know you're safe. You're a safe person. You're not here to do any harm to her. And you have to give her the opportunity to see that. So you have to let her, you have to be like, that this makes perfect sense. But I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm not going to hurt you. The problem that could come up is you become afraid, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to be that guy who's scaring her. And then all of a sudden you start acting weird and acting creepy.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's making me rethink what my experience with feeling like I scared a woman, which was like, I kind of got scared myself.
And that happens to me every time.
Yeah. But I think if I could go back and revisit that, I think I would probably just say something like, I know it's probably pretty jolting to have somebody come up and mention that to you, but really I was just wanting to let you know that you're really beautiful, and take care.
Yeah. And I said this on another podcast, but there was one time where Avi approached someone and she literally jumped. And he started laughing with her. He's like, "You just jumped. That was crazy." And then it was all good.
Yeah.
Because he just showed her "Oh, I'm a friendly guy."
Yeah.
It made sense that you got scared, but look, this is me.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Cool, brother. I think we're kind of at our limit here.
Yeah. This is a long one.
Yeah, totally.
Some good stuff.
Yeah. So thank you all again for joining us. That was an action-packed podcast. I don't think I was ready to stop talking, but we have a time limit. So we hope to see you next week, and good luck to you all out there in the field.